Hey everyone, it's Bella, the founder of the Embody Wellness Institute, and today I wanted to share with you a bit more about my sensefulness method. It's actually founded on, the knowledge that I've acquired in the last 20 years from the different disciplines related to healthy living, mental well-being, um, you know, preventive health and health policy, but it's also based on a lot of the truths that I have learned from my own healing experiences, from living across the globe and really putting health and wellness in a perspective, what it means to be well in different contexts, right? Because it's different for every culture, for instance. And so in a way, I've been after the answers as to what makes people healthy and well. What are the perfect conditions, both external and internal? So, and recently, I had a huge realization that made me really happy, and that I wanted to share it with you. That even though the method is composed of different pillars related to nourishing your body, right? How you eat, what you put in your body, both, here and, in your mouth, how you sleep, how you take care of your, with stress management, and how you learn to really connect to that inner peace, to your sexuality and, inner desire, creativity, to how we move and exercise, all of those things, right? It seems to be all encompassing, but in reality, it's based on a simple premise. We, as human beings, were designed in a certain way through evolutionary forces. And we have kind of a natural flow, right? We have a way that our body flows. And I'm sure you've felt that, right? Sometimes you just feel this like you're going with the flow, right? And it's an actual thing. It's not something that you're imagining. And basically, you have a certain amount of energy. And if you're constantly fighting your own way of being, your own natural way of being, then in reality, what you're doing is you're using up all of that energy and it's zeroed out. But if you go with the flow, then the energy you have can be used up for whatever else, right? You're adding to that energy. So you're left with all the energy that you need. And that translates into physical health, mental well-being, libido, creativity, purpose. All of those things align when you're flowing with your natural ways. And what does that mean, right? What does that mean, natural ways? And even though in ancestral times we used to live in the caves, and we were sort of not as advanced than we are now. We have our neocortex now, and we have, we're much more advanced in terms of our mind, but our bodies work in exactly the same ways that they used to before. They might have changed slightly, but by and large, they're the same. And our body knows its way to health and well-being. It feels it, but we have disconnected from this natural flow, right? It has this rhythm of life that's pulsating in it. And when we completely misalign from it, so for instance, we used to live in nature. We didn't live in buildings before. We used to live in tribes. So we were always surrounded with people. We used to sleep with a little bit of noise and background, not in complete silence. We used to engage in sort of cuddling and procreation, sexual activity, much more than we do now. Parenting was something that we did as a community, not individually. We didn't have family units. We ate from nature, and that was our main purpose, really, like eating, surviving, and procreating, right? So we didn't have to search for purpose. So in reality, this engagement with nature to pick the berries and run away from the wild animals, that was part of what made us who we are on a physical level. Not to say that we need to go back to living in a cave, but if you don't understand that natural rhythm, and that you are being, your body is being directed in a certain way, in that direction, and you ignore those natural urges, then you're really subtracting from your energy rather than adding to it. And how do you know if you're being led away from your natural ways? The stress and emotions that we experience are actually the best, it's the language that our body has to tell us that we're misaligned from our natural ways. So the emotions, the stress, and the sensations that we get, the gut feelings, all of those things are actually ways that our body communicates to us to say, wait, you're completely misaligned with my natural way of being. So please get back to it a little bit. And so with my sensualness method, what I'm trying to do is really get us back into alignment with our natural way of eating, sleeping, and connecting to our sexuality, moving, all of those things where we are told we have to do things in a certain way by our societies are actually leading us away from our natural rhythms. So we need to understand what those ways were, and we need to realign with them, at least in some ways where you can release that energy and emotion to allow your body to heal naturally, to allow your libido to come back, to allow your purpose to feel your purpose and to feel your inner desire, to connect who you truly are. So let's say, what is stress, for instance? Stress was experienced before as a natural way for us to survive, so let's say you were being chased by a wild animal, so that stress was activated for you to run away, but you immediately used up that stress, and you kind of took the stress out of your body to run, right? And that's why our body actually releases endorphins when you run, because it was considered necessary for our survival for you to run and to be able to engage in that behavior. So how can we kind of put that into practice today, or take advantage of that energy today? When you get stressed and instead of the wild animal, it's your boss or partner that's driving you crazy, you don't run away from them necessarily, but you know that stress is from ignited by something, some trigger, but you end up using that energy to take that stress out of your body, and then you do something great for your body, which is exercise. And then you get the endorphins, the runner's high, and you're back to equilibrium. Same thing goes for desire. So we have a much higher need for desire and engaging sexually or physically with others. And if you're completely ignoring that, then you end up that energy ends up going bad, right? It's not used up properly. So knowing that energy is there is really important for you to direct it in a certain way, right? Again, it can be done through movement in a dance, or it can be done through masturbation, let's say, or some other ways that connect you to this energy that you're feeling. You can't ignore it, because energy will go against you if you don't use it up. And some of the most practical ways, right? Like the way that we eat and sleep, for instance. We used to eat mostly raw foods and roots and vegetables and fruits and nuts and seeds. Okay, we can't go back to those ways, but we can really incorporate the power of these raw and natural foods into our day-to-day, so that they can give us the energy of nature back. Because right now we're eating mostly, lifeless foods, right? Foods that have absolutely no nutritional value, and our body is constantly screaming for those nutrients that that are present there in their natural form. So those are some of the things that we need to consider when trying to figure out why we're always stressed, why we're not excited about life, why we have all these inflammations, allergies, and health issues, and something is hurting. All of those are signals that your body is sending you. If you don't pay attention to them, they will only get worse, because, you might mask it from different, if you just mask it with some medication and you mask the symptoms, but the cause is still there. So you're constantly ignoring this natural, innate way that your body operates. Then eventually you'll end up bringing on a lot of physical ailments, mental, and just like run out of energy because you're not taking advantage of the energy that you were given to flow with it. So if you're interested in really realigning yourself with this natural way of being through the sensefulness method with me, I would be really happy to give you a free evaluation and see how we can fix a lot of different parts of your life with this alignment so that it's permanent, pleasurable, enjoyable, and that way you can really take care of a lot of different areas of your life, such as your health, your mental well-being, finding purpose, feeling more excitement about everything that you do in your day-to-day.